Welcome to yet another episode of the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories, a series of conversations with CXOs and business leaders over chai or coffee, if that's your preference, brought to you by ETH. The urgency and pressure on business leaders as they navigate the COVID-19 pandemic has been immense. These business leaders have been constantly monitoring myriad ways to ensure that their respective companies stay on course in the new normal. The incredible demands placed on them makes us often wonder how they have time for family, hobbies, or any downtime at a personal level. And let's not forget that they are mere mortals. This initiative by ETH is aimed to create a deeper connection with them and to get a sense of what business leaders of several prominent companies do when they are not in business mode. Today, it's my pleasure to host Jayanta Lahiri, Chief Information Officer, First Source Solutions. Jayanta, welcome to the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories.
Thank you, Evan. Thank you for having me here.
Our pleasure. Okay, Jayanta, let's rewind a little. If you were to go back to the early years of your childhood, school, or later college, were there any positive influences or incidents that shaped your foundation in those formative years?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure, yes, there are quite a few, but I would like to talk about two areas. One was, when we were there in college and universities and all that, I will talk about mostly the university because that is where I remember the most. And I used to be a science student all along, and I was pretty good in maths and physics. And, so I had, a couple of teachers, they're doing math, they're teaching physics and maths. And also there was one teacher who was teaching us computer science, control systems and all that. Those are very difficult those days. And computer science was something which just came up in the year. And that those were, I think I would say 1983, 1984 kind of time. And I learned the problem solving, how to resolve difficult problems, however difficult it is, that there will be, and sometimes I remember my teacher used to tell that, okay, Jayanta, don't go for it because those kind of problems is never going to come to your exam, but I will still go for it. So those are the areas, and I would like to talk about my two teachers, one Mr. Kalyan Roy and Mr. T.K. Ghoshal. Both of them were senior professors from the university. And I used to very closely work with them to understand how do they resolve problems. And the best part was there is no one approach in a problem solving. There can be multiple approaches. If you have a problem, if you have a math problem or a physics problem or whatsoever, I used to see that they are solving it in 3 or 4 different ways. And the answer will be the same. But so that is the creativity in problem solution. Right. I would also see that, just in a matter of seconds, they'll say, hey, Jayanta, just check if this is the answer. So they're actually kind of a moving computer, Yes. I got a lot of inspiration. That was one. The other one was in my university days, I was also playing, I was in my cricket team. I was pretty much engaged in cricket. I played in university level, state level. Okay. I didn't play in Ranji though, but I was pretty much involved. And if I were not a CIO, then I would have been a cricketer maybe. Okay. And I used to open the innings, against fast bowling. And I remember that those days we used to do so much of planning before a game, understanding the opponent, understanding what should be our approach, which bowler is going to bowl how, and also the planning and creativity. I learned planning and creativity from my cricketing days, that how you plan a game. And in fact, the life is a game, to be honest. Yes. Every day there is new challenges, right? Every day, be it in your career, be it in a personal life, professional life, I have seen that every day you have a new challenge that you're facing. Sure. So how do you plan? How do you creatively, without disturbing others, resolve those problems? Those are the two things, problem solving and planning, I learned. And I had a big influence from my college days.
Wonderful, wonderful. We probably missed out on another Sunny Gavaskar.
I mean, I mean, I was an opening batsman and I used to play square cuts, and Gavaskar is, of course, my role model those days. Yeah.
Right. Square cuts, it would be Gundappa Vishwanath.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful. What a lovely start to this cutting chai conversation. Jayanta, you're a leader. So I'm going to ask you as to what advice would you give someone going into a leadership position for the first time?
Yeah. So there are various, but the first and foremost thing is that if you look at the zennials of this year, so they want to get everything upfront, they don't want to wait.
Yes.
And this is a digital era where people play games and they watch TVs, they are always on social media. So when they come to a leadership role, I can see my daughter, my daughters, both of them are zennials, right?
Right.
And or millennials, whatever. So this, but my advice to them will be there is no shortcut.
Yes.
There is no shortcut. Your career, you'll have to do. There is no alternative to hard work.
Sure.
Right. It is not a game, or rather, in other words, it is not a digital game that you play something, or maybe social media. So you'll have to really put in your efforts. Be a visionary. Whenever you're joining or taking up a role, understand what the management wants you to achieve, sure, and have a vision for that, sure, and have goal which will lead to that vision, and inspire your people. You have to be, end of the day, you have to get job done through your people. So inspiring people, understanding their requirements, problems, and solve their problems. Treat yourself as if you're them. So those are the things. You'll have to have a solid vision. You'll have to be a visionary. You'll have to be good in problem solving. You'll have to do hard work. And last but not the least is, every day when I go to bed, and this is something that I do still, I will always think that, have I earned my day's salary? Yeah. So treat yourself as a daily wager. Right. Don't treat yourself as a VP or an SVP of a company that you earn every month or every day. If I have a salary of X rupees of that day, have I solved a big problem for my company and earned that salary for the day? That's very important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What you're talking about, as you were speaking, my mind was racing. And what you're basically summing up when it comes to leadership is, what you're saying is, number one is people need to look up to you. That's number one. And you don't need a title to be a leader. What you're trying to say, more or less, Jayanta, is become the kind of leader that people would follow voluntarily, even if you had no title or position.
Yes.
That was my takeaway from your answer. Wonderful.
Yes.
Jayanta,
and last but not the least is, the planning a day is very, very important. So we should say, every day when I plan, when right, I start my day, I would say, okay, these are the 5 things that I have to complete that day, no matter what it is.
Sure.
And that is how you earn your salary for the day.
Absolutely. Great. I know that currently things have changed, and I'm not sure what's the current situation in your company, but for a long period, we were in a work from home scenario. So my next question to you is this, is how do you motivate and inspire your team who work from home? And how do you measure employee productivity in a work from home scenario?
Absolutely. I think, for last 18 months, most of our people are working from home. I would say probably 80-90% of the people are working from home. And my entire technology team, they're working from home. They're working from multiple cities. Some people have gone to their hometowns. They're staying with their families and parents. I think the work from home culture has come up in a big way in last 18 months. And I'm sure it was not a smooth ride, I would say. But over a period of time, we have learned how to tackle the situation, right? So most important part is that, you cannot work in a task mode when you're working from home. When you are meeting a colleague in a face-to-face in office, you'd always say, hey, can you do these 5 things for me, or can you do these 6 things for me? Come back to me with a report and all that.
Sure.
But those are the days which have gone, according to me. I think we'll have to work in a project mode rather than a task mode. And the project, each project has to have an outcome. And everybody should know what is this outcome all about and what this outcome means for them and for the organization. And in that, as long as everybody is in sync with those outcomes, your job is done as a leader, because everybody is working on those outcome mode. And you know that as long as, so no matter, I mean, for me, it doesn't matter whether somebody is putting in 4 hours a day or 15 hours a day.
Right.
I will kind of judge the performance of the person based on what outcomes that he or she delivers.
Right.
And that is how it is. I mean, people can work on a Saturday, Sunday, or they can take off during the weekdays. Sometimes, it has come to such a level that probably sometimes I don't even know that if somebody is on leave or somebody is not on leave, right?
Right.
Somebody is taking break. Maybe, somebody has taken a 4 hour, 5 hours break and gone to a doctor's place or gone to a relative's place during the course of the day. But for me, that's not important. For me, that's important is that there's an outcome which has to be achieved on a particular day, and whether that is achieved or not.
Sure.
And last but not the least is, in this kind of a scenario, one should also talk a lot about non-work related topics.
Sure.
At least every week, we should have a 10 minutes conversation with every employee to understand what's going on in their personal life. How is their relatives, how their parents doing, whether there is any problem in their family. I mean, sometimes I feel that I'm a doctor, because I sometimes suggest the medicines.
Yes.
And say, hey, try this medicine, try that medicine. This has worked for me really well. Go for a fitness exercise or whatever it is. So I speak to them completely, nothing to do with work, outside work, conversations.
Yes. Wonderful. I think the softest skills that we talked about all this time, probably in leadership roles, have really come to play in a work from home scenario. So that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Jayanta, what's the best professional advice you've ever received, and who gave it to you?
Again, I will go back to my university days, and also I will go back to my leaders in my early days. I used to work I worked in multiple large companies and multinationals. And I remember that, that there are 2 things I would say. Number one is that whenever you are working on a particular project or particular vision or particular whatever, major work for the customer, you have to get into the details. You cannot be on a surface. You have to make your hands dirty. Go to the details, ask people, what is it all about? Understand the ground realities. I've seen there are people, a lot of leaders, including senior leaders, they are very theoretical in nature, right? They'll say, okay, this is how it's going to work. This is how it's going to work. But maybe they are lacking the practical experience. They don't know whether the theory will work or the practical will work. So make your hands dirty, understand what are the ground realities, work with the team, and make things happen. And work in a collaborative environment. Don't just give tasks or give work and run away. Work with the team to make things happen. That's the mantra. And again, people are our asset. If you cannot make people happy, you cannot make your customer happy.
Absolutely. Very well said. Very well said. Okay, Jayanta, with that, I'm going to come back to the questions. But before that, I'd like to move on to another segment, which is called the one word, one line answer. I'm going to ask you a set of questions, and I would request you to respond either in a word or a line. And if there are more than 3 words that are required, I'll specify that. It's a fun round. There are no wrong answers. There are only right answers, because these are your answers. So are you ready, Jayanta?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. Which business leader do you look up to or admire the most?
Um, I would say one, Mr. Sudeep Banerjee from Wipro. He was the CEO of Wipro and Wipro
Okay,
Technologies, and he is my role model.
wonderful. Would you describe yourself as an extrovert or an introvert?
I would say both.
Okay,
Depends on the audience that
right,
I'm on.
right, right. That's a fair answer. Three apps that you use the most.
I'm a food lover, so I use Zomato or
Okay,
Swiggy day in
okay.
and day out. There's not a single day that I don't use them.
Wow. Okay,
And I use Amazon or Flipkart. They're
sure.
extremely useful. I think those are the apps that I am on every day.
Okay,
I'm using
that's
some or
fine.
the
That's
other.
fine. Yeah, yeah. Three people who are closest to you.
My wife, my daughter, and my mother.
Wonderful. Uh, since you're a foodie, I'm going to ask you to name three all-time favorite food dishes.
I would say I'm a non-vegetarian, so uh, biryani, and that is very very I like various types of biryanis,
Okay,
and probably club sandwiches as
nice.
and some chicken gravy, whatever you call it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful. What would you title your autobiography if there was one? What would the title be?
Yeah, I think we should say that a dream of a successful reader.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I hope that biography comes out, autobiography actually comes out. What is that one thing that most people don't know about
Yeah, uh, I'm a DJ myself, so I like music,
you?
Western
Ah,
music,
wonderful.
and I play keyboard, and I'm a DJ myself. So I do DJ in parties. Yeah.
Wonderful. Wow. Excellent. Oh, this segment is bringing out a lot of aspects of you, which our audience is going to love when they watch this video. I'm going to give you two options. Kindly choose one, Jayanta. Would you prefer to live in a mansion or live in a farmhouse?
I would say none.
None. But suppose if you're forced to choose one of them.
Uh, I would prefer to live in a farmhouse in
Okay,
my retirement days. Yeah.
sure, sure. Pani puri or save puri?
Pani puri.
Okay. Save or spend?
Sorry.
Save, would you save or would you spend if you had money?
I will spend.
Spend.
I'm a big spender. Yeah.
Intense pain for 10 minutes or dull pain for 1 day?
Intense uh, pain for 1
Pain
minute.
for 10 minutes. Okay, great. Were your parents strict or lenient?
Very strict.
Ah, who was stricter, father or mother?
I think further.
Okay,
And that is why I'm in this career. I mean, kudos to him. Otherwise, I would have been a cricketer.
okay, okay. Would you prefer to have ice cream in a cone or ice cream in a cup or bowl?
Uh, Ice cream in a cone.
Okay. 5-day cricket or T20 cricket?
5 day.
Which do you prefer, logic or creativity?
I would prefer creativity.
Nice. Would you rather be the funniest or the smartest person in a room?
Funniest.
Nice. If you were to be stuck in a room for 24 hours, whom would you choose to be stuck with? And I'll give you three options. Kapil Dev, Oprah Winfrey, or Warren Buffett?
Oprah Winfrey.
Nice. Would you choose to live in a peaceful dictatorship or a chaotic democracy?
Chaotic democracy.
If you could be a kitchen appliance, which one would you be and why?
Microwave.
Why?
Yeah, because we are always boiling, in our work. And also it is important to keep our people always warm and customer always warm in these days, in working from home days.
What a creative answer. That's wonderful. If you were a color, which color would you be?
Blue.
Nice.
You
What
can
is
see
your
blue and
most,
black. Sorry.
okay. What is your most prized possession?
Probably a Mercedes-Benz car.
Okay, nice. Jayanta, which three people, living, dead, fictional, would you like to have a cutting chai conversation with? If you were in my place and you have a choice of three people, living or dead or fictional, whom would you want to have that cutting chai conversation with?
Narendra Modi.
Okay.
I'm a big fan.
Okay.
President Putin. I like his style of living.
Wonderful.
And of course, if Indira Gandhi was present, I would have spoken to her.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Final question in this segment. Life is incomplete without dash. Fill in the blanks. You can use a word or a sentence.
Life is incomplete without that bit of excitement and enjoyment.
Good. Good. You did very well in this segment, Jayanta. I loved all your answers. Well done.
Thank you.
Before we wind up this cutting chai conversation, I have one final question for you. Jayanta, what is your mantra for success?
Yeah, so the very important part is that put yourself in your customer's shoes. Don't look at things from your perspective, look at things from outside in perspective. And that will make you a successful leader.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Great. What a wonderful note to end this cutting chai conversation with on. Jayanta, we could go on. I just feel that we could go on for much more time, but we have to bring a close to this wonderful cutting chai conversation. Friends, that was Jayanta Lahiri, Chief Information Officer, First Source Solutions. I had a wonderful time engaging with you over the last 20 minutes, Jayanta. I wish you, your family, and First Source Solutions the very best going forward.